every single championship so far. But here we go. The 6 players are on the field, but there's only 3 places on the plane. One of these teams will be getting a flight to Schiphol Airport to go to Rotterdam. Which one is it going to be? A best of 7? We'll find out, Danny.
We certainly will, and if you were going with your gut instincts, you should be back in maybe Rule 1 if you're fancying the shots here, as we already see one being plastered to that backboard. But again, a little bit too high before threats becoming a little bit more actually dangerous.
Early stages of this one, Falcons with a little bit more control as we tick past the first 30 seconds. TRK, what a shot from TRK! Paints the bottom left corner, and it's Falcons in the lead early.
Oh, that was a fabulous getting ball moving across.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely gorgeous. Fake from Ahmad, and TRK just comes out from behind the curtain. Falcons in the lead early. Can they extend it? Khaled had a little bit of a chance there. Now Rule 1 on the back foot. Let's see what they can do coming out of their own half. But it does seem like Falcons with the more aggressive start. Like I said, I thought it would have been Rule 1, but they seem cool, calm and collected, and they're not overextending themselves.
It's a bit of that oddity, but again, we always value experience, we always value these situations, and if you were back in the Falcons, it'd be a strong enough reason that our secondary block comes around, and this is worrying signs if you're a Rule 1 fan, Craftsman, especially how far and how deep they're going back. They've got to give themselves more space than that.
Yeah, Falcons just pressing the back. There's no one here in net, and Ahmad's going to take advantage. Oh, poor showing from Rule 1 in the defense. Overextension after Ruaz misses that one off the corner, and Ahmad says, thank you very much, sir.
Can we just chalk this one up to nerves?
I think you could, to be honest.
Oh, I sincerely hope so. We've been building this up as the final, the king and the prince finally doing battle here, and we don't want to see a walkover by the Falcons because, let's be fair, the first 2 goals in this series has been fairly a walk-in.
That they have. Still need to see a response out of Rule 1. Falcons currently taking them to the cleaners, and TRK gets a second. What on earth is happening? The pressure of the situation getting to Rule 1, and another mistake from Rawaz in the corner. Nadar couldn't get there in time. And in the blink of an eye, Danny, Rule 1 are down 3 goals to nothing. They need to get themselves rolling in this first game. Might not necessarily need to win it, but they need to get some goals on the board to give themselves some confidence, and Nadar couldn't sink it.
Well, it's a fabulous idea, putting the shots on target. You just need to sometimes throw the furniture out of the window if it was our good friend Relic at that point. But frankly, I think Rule 1 might have ran out of furniture at this point in time.
Really heading over to IKEA to get themselves some more Billy bookcases.
Other furniture stores are available.
They are available, of course. Take your pick on that one. O'Callaghan can maybe take his pick here as he hurdles that one toward. Oh my goodness! Comes off the bar on the orange side and clears right down the other end.
You talk sometimes about what you need, and that's an opportunity and a half just given absolutely free. The transitional downfield, perfect, and Rule 1. Well, we may have been thinking this game would have been, how can we put it, a tester, a warm-up. Rule 1 certainly showing a bit of steel to their game now.
Maybe that is the kickstart that Rule 1 needs here in game number 1. I was just looking at the predictions over on the MENA channel as well. 61% of the channel points went on to Falcons, and you would think rightly so. They are the heavy favourites after winning the Fall Cup. Never have to rule out Rule 1 as that initial winner here in the MENA region in 2022-23. Maybe that one goal could spark them, but here comes Khaled out of the corner. Rawaz will bump him away. Not been the best of games from Rawaz, a couple of mistakes leading to a couple of Falcons goals. That bump in the corner will extend their possession. Now back into the hands of Falcons, into the corner. Ahmad round 1, couldn't get it past Kalir's coming out of the corner like that, and he'll dribble downfield, try to get a bump, tries to get a pinch actually off the backboard. Here comes Nader and can't get the shot into a space with no Falcon player.
Nice bit of rotation here for Kazirs to move down. Rawaz sitting back deep. Fabulous bomb! Oh, could have been goal number 2, but the problem is it's running all the way downfield and restarting the play here. We want consistency in terms of the goals here, Craftman, for Rule 1. They have to keep it going.
Oh, and another mistake from Rawaz will give TRK his hat-trick. Oh, dearie, dearie me, what a whiff. And TRK just cleans that one up nicely. A few mistakes from Rawaz. He really needs to be better in this one here, Danny. Otherwise, Falcons are just going to jump at every opportunity that he's been giving them.
Well, we saw that in the second semi-final, Craftman, when they were 5-0 up at times, that Team Falcons, and this is no disrespect here, but when you have that confidence in your mechanic sale, go for anything, they'll flip the set at anything, and frankly punish you for a mistake as well, and you thought that was open. I think Falcons took a bit of umbrage to that one, Craftman.
Yeah, I thought Ahmad was coming upfield with the play, and after the pickpocket from the Rule 1 offense takes the ball away, I thought Ahmad couldn't turn in time. How wrong I was. Don't think it would matter too much anyway with 25 seconds left in the clock. Looks like Falcons have this one fairly comfortably. DRK maybe looking for a fifth. Actually leave it off to Ahmad and another shot comes in, but this is just time wasting now. Falcons looking to take game number 1, and it looks like they will. Rule 1 again beat Falcons in the grand final a couple of regionals ago. They're going to have an uphill battle here after being demolished in game 1.
It's a big statement, especially for Falcons, because you're just sitting there and you're thinking Rule 1, they have arguably meant them in the region. The argument of sort of the cat and mouse game, Craftman, is the gap finally going to be closed down or not? You've asked me that question. I thought arguably so. Nope, I'm wrong. I've been wrong, what was that, 4 times this broadcast? I should just stop talking.
By the way, I've just seen the stats. No saves at all for Rule 1. 0.0 across the board. No shot. No, there was plenty of shots. There was 4 shots, only from Rawaz as well. So lacking a little bit of offense and certainly lacking in defense is Rule 1. They need to tighten up the ship, because Falcons, they run a tight game, and when when Rawaz is making those kind of misses in the corner, it's like we said, the nerves can get to you, and you chalked a couple of goals up to nervy plays from the Rule 1 defense, but this is the RLCS. This is the grand final. You need to get those nerves away. Maybe that is your game to set those nerves aside and just move on and play the rest of this best of 7.
Well, certainly so, and we'll even look further into that statistical side. If you go look at the semi-final, Rawaz is arguably the lowest player on the goals. Yes, the shots is there, but only drilling in 0.5 over effectively a few games. So he's not their natural goal scorer. If you were looking from the semi-final, Nar is at 1.2. You would hope sincerely at that point. But here's a question for you, and maybe one will make a return to. If Falcons win game 2, do we see that technical pause? Because frankly, that timeout will be certainly needed.
Well, I was thinking as well that timeouts are a rarity in MENA. Certainly not seen too many. I don't think we've seen any actually today at all. So it would certainly be prevalent for Rule 1 to pull out that tactical timeout if Falcons were to get this one. But Kalir's, oh, no timeout required. Less than 30 seconds in, Rule 1 on top.
Sometimes you just chalk a game up. Yep, we had a bad one. We'll hold our hands up in a minute. But it's how champions respond is the key thing, Craftman. And that was perfectly on cue.
The boost they needed, they just need to not lose off the kickoff. They might even win one off the kickoff. Falcons susceptible to a couple of kickoff goals earlier on against Veloce. Could have been the end of their game 6, and we could have had that game 7 with Falcons and Veloce. They did hold on to take that one on Neo Tokyo. Now Rule 1. They did lose their first game to GK earlier on. It did look a little bit dire. It was only 1-0 in that game, however, that last one being 4-1. So a little bit more of an uphill struggle, but that one goal, like we said, will do their morale wonders. And there's a save from Clears. As Falcons trying to find a road in. TRK off the side wall. Off the back wall, I should say. Looking for that double tap to take down to his teammate. But a good win from Clears. Could put it himself off the backboard, but will not find the angle.
Tad unfortunate. You talk about the morale, it's certainly been uphill, and what is a good sign, they didn't drop or change their playstyle. They thought, right, it's worked for 2.5 regionals up to this point, it's got it to this grand final, let's just try it for an extra game or two. And that ball, once again, approaching further in the Falcons' deep final third, deep to the back wall. That's what we like to see. Not quite the crossbar though.
Not quite, but a chance for Clears out of the corner. Falcons defense just playing a little bit of a crossing route there and blocking away that. TRK with a shot, doesn't find the target though. Nervy plays either side of the ball, but Rule 1 seeming like the more aggressive team, and there's Rawaz with a second to put Rule up by 2.
Oh, this is fabulous. Good fatigue, good idea. Somewhat, it was a bit doubtful what Clears was doing, but if you have nobody challenge for it, get the right bounce. He read the projection well and tucked in quite nicely. Falcons, they haven't scored. They haven't really had a shot on target. They had one breakaway chance. This is completely the opposite table that we saw in game 1.
Yeah, the switch has been flipped for row 1. No, it's just spotting Falcons that first game, maybe luring them into a false sense of security. The Falcons know the struggles when it comes to these grand finals. They know the pressure, and they can never take any opponent lightly. And that is 1 apiece for Rule 1. Third goal for them, first for Nader.
Oh, simple, delicate, and even crucial to what Rule 1 is needing to do, and they've executed perfection so far in game 2. When you talk about pressure in these situations, the Falcons have been here before. It only matters when you bring your A game. They have not brought it here in game 2.
Certainly not, and a little bit of a shock to the system. Like I said, Falcons can know that they never ever should take an opponent lightly. I don't think they have taken Rule 1 lightly. They have played their game. It's just been a little bit quiet from them as TRK tries to find Paydirt. A nice save from Clears. Maybe a chance now for Ama to get that infield pass. Will be blocked away. Falcons just really struggling now as Rule 1's defense has stepped up. We did mention there was no saves from them in that previous game. Now they have a chance to close this one out without letting a single goal in for Falcons.
The fact that we're mentioning the 0-0 as being such a huge problem, you don't expect that in a grand final match here in the RLCS. You sit there and you start going, you know what? They weren't ready. They weren't just in the sort of the mode and the situation. And sometimes you might have a lapse of concentration. I think we might have just seen a moment there.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there from Nader on the backboard, and I know it was Rawaz sitting there. I don't think Rawaz was really expecting that ball to fall the way it did. So you can't really blame him on that one. It was just a bit of a misplay off the back wall for Nader. But that does open the door for Falcons here on game number 2, Danny. Just when we thought it was closing, we left it slightly ajar. Maybe a fourth for Rule 1. Will rule out the comeback for Falcons, but one here might open the door even more for TRK, and it does. Back within 1 are Team Falcons.
Talk about wedging that door. I think it's now fully and truly open here for this game to be snatched away for Falcons' sake, which is a shame for Rule 1 to have that stability, the strength, the core to be ripped apart that really stemmed from an honest mistake. You happen to do one, and sometimes that's all that you can remember. They've got to push it to the back of their minds here.
Back within 1, Falcons. Can't choke if you're Rule 1. This is the crucial stage of this game. This is really what's going to test this mettle of this regional winning team. Can they convert themselves from a regional team to a LAN team? And that is the hurdle that the mental hurdle that these guys need to get over. Obviously veterans out of the MENA scene. Been here, not necessarily got the t-shirt yet, but they'll be able to buy some at the merch stand in Rotterdam if they're able to punch their ticket there. 23 seconds left, and here comes Kaliers, just trying to keep this deep in Falcons territory, not give them a chance here at the end of Aquadome. The Falcons, if anyone's going to find a road in, it's going to be them. There comes TRK, and a send downfield from Rawaz. Kaliers will pop that one in the corner. Just draining this clock dry here, Danny, and it does seem like they've done that, although there will be a chance here at the end of regulation. He's that save, and he's got it! Oh my goodness, Rule 1, by the skin of their teeth, they take it away in Game 2. Wowee!
Can I just ask, Craftman, how many saves did they get in the last game?
0. Zilch. Nada.
Well,
I'm trying to see how many they got there. They got
one
2.
big save. Yeah, but one big save there, Craftman. One is all that it takes, and it's Rule 1 with 1 on the board, and that sometimes you just need to settle the nerves, calm head, be collective. You saw that for at least half the game, but Craftman, there's a big, big red flag in that game, though. They allowed the door happening through their own mistake. They've got to trust each other. They cannot afford here, and you put this sort of veteran status on them, yes, but look at the other side of the field here. They're a world champion contending team, never mind just a regional champion.
Nearly won a major last season as well, in spring in London. So it's just mad to think about that these guys could potentially, this Rule 1 side who've you know, battled through the last season trying to get any win they can against the Falcons and knock them off their pedestal, now have a shot, tied the series at 1 game apiece. No timeout coming through from either team, so it is. I mean, I didn't really expect a timeout to be coming through when the series is tied at 1-1. We'll see how things progress. We'll see how Rule 1 come off the kickoff here. Kaliers has a chance early on, but Khaled able to stop that one. Now, if you're Rule 1 here, Danny, what is the mental? You've got 1 game here in the grand final. You can't let that happen again against Falcons. Go 3 goals up and almost let them in.
You certainly can't, and the sort of the statistical side of the game just was going to bring up the fact about their saves being so low. In fact, it's double low in compared to what Falcons. Doesn't matter when your opposition keeps scoring.
That's yeah, it does help when you score goals.
It does
in Rocket League. It really does. An early one again for Falcons. Maybe a chance back for Rule 1, and Rawaz does miss that one. Kaliers almost got it. Excuse me, it was Nader who missed it in there. Rawaz had that pass over from Kaliers. That was almost fantastic, but an open net here. Good save from Rawaz. Can he get the second? It's off the bar. Needs to clear it here. Nader helps out. Kaliers into the corner, and that is mental fortitude from Rule 1.
Big credit to the 4th man, though. The post stood up strong and kept it out here. And that, there's a big side. Here's a follow through, and you just fancy Kaliers to maybe had a second attempt on the follow, but he backed away there, and that's a sign of maybe fear, not respect, however.
Yeah, a couple of open nets for Falcons. Ahmad has been the man to save those a couple of times now. Been the man staying back for Falcons. Let's see if Rule 1 can start exploiting that. Not a lot of boost in their tanks. We'll have to let Falcons and TRK take this shot off the corner of the roof. It will go. And again, Rule 1. Just holding on for dear life, waiting for this road through for Falcons. It does seem like they are sitting back a little bit now, not wanting to push forward. But here's a chance now for Kaliers. Boosted up. Tries to dribble that one through. Nader with full boost over to Rawaz, and again, the Falcons' defense holding strong. It is interesting to see the change in play style from both teams. Whereas Falcons were the aggressives at the start, both teams being a little bit more conservative with their play, but a big shot from Rawaz might bait out the defense. Infield pass back over to Kaliers. I think Rawaz actually wanted to take the shot, but he went for the pass instead. Or was just at least a little bit off target, Danny.
Unfortunate so, but what is good to see is they're willing to somewhat, alright, most people are expecting a shot. Yes, they're slightly changing it up. But I think credit has to be given to both sides here equally so, because they're presenting each other a complete direct opposite from the two games we've seen so far here. And do you know what? They played against each other enough within the last 3 seasons. And it's just a matter of who cracks first. The Falcons, alright, yes, they have got that goal. They have the advantage here in Game 3. Don't think it'll last long though.
There was a chance there for Clears actually as the ball was dropping down in front of the Falcons net, and he just waits a little bit too long for himself. He was waiting until it was maybe a few car lengths off the ground. I think he should have gone for that ball earlier, because Falcons were a little bit boost-starved, a little bit taken aback, and they weren't really expecting Clears to go for that as early as he should have. Oh, TRK! Oh my goodness! Talk us through this one, Danny, because this just came out of nowhere.
Well, it's just simply Clears was just sitting back in his sort of going, let's just force a 50, keep the sort of the net side angle closed down. The moments, however, when there's no following defender behind you, it's effectively a free net here, just a double touch to make it look nice as that one runs in for 3. And you know what? You talk about the difference of what Clears should have done. Just also cast your mind back. The Falcons pulled away from a potential goal-scoring opportunity. They know when to strike, and there's 3 on the door.
Oh dear! If you're row 1, that is not the run of play the last 5 seconds that you really wanted. A chance to keep this one closer out and maybe get a pop shot towards the end to force overtime. Now all of a sudden you need 3. Falcons sitting pretty. Ahmad's just going to waste time off this clock. This is an open net. This is going to be one on the board for row 1. And that might just push the boat out a little bit for Falcons in row 1. A little bit of confidence here.
Certainly will at least aid that element. What is a little bit worrying though is we don't really see Falcons as that side that is completely just spread themselves thin in the back lines. Yes, they like the aggressive, but you always see at least one deep back there, wrong side of the pitch. Already off a mistake, but one that might just, as you said, push the boat out. We will hopefully see a 5th goal in this game, arguably, for the neutral sake at 3-2.
The thing the Falcons need to remember as well, Khaled takes a shot and 2 men in net will block that one away. They can't do what row 1 did last game. They can't be aggressive here. They need to adjust their play style, not have all 3 men up in position like this as they had. You saw Ahmad sitting back there. He was kind of on the midfield line. If row 1 had the same kind of play that they had to get that 1 goal, that would have easily been 3-2. But they are keeping this close, playing their cards close to their chest and holding this one down. Keeping possession for themselves. That is the key to victory now for Falcons, to go up 2-1. Nice shot from Nader, but right into the path of a Falcons defender. Khaled will get credit for the save. Last 10 seconds now, a bit of a passing play, which has been row 1's MO so far in this grand final. But I think it's a little bit too little too late here, Danny, and Falcons will go and take a 2-1 lead in this series.
I think what needs to be discussed somewhat here, Craftman, is the fact we're talking about those passing plays. Yes, we've seen the prime example there. I don't think the pass was as clean as it was. I think the line is arguably being too pushed up here for where the recipient of the pass needs to drop back, allow the widening of your stance effectively, and shoot it either side here. The fact that it's ended up into the keeper, give no opportunities. And that there is just a signifying of, yes, we know what we need to do, it's just we can't quite execute it.
Yeah, execution is going to be the name of the game for row 1. And for Falcons as well, because like we said, that 1 goal, they were a little bit too far up. I'm not sure what Falcons are doing, aggressing as much as they are, playing all 3 men upfield in the way that they did. They were 3-0 up, Danny. And yes, okay, they did win the game eventually, but it's things like that. It's little, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Tendencies from both these sides that even when they are in an advantageous position, they can sometimes make mistakes and let their opponents in. Luckily for both teams, they've denied their opponents coming back through from an early lead.
Yeah, so certain nuances that you sort of let slip in here. The only problem is you don't want to make a habit of it, Craftman, because we've arguably seen 2 games, as you've highlighted quite correctly, where the game could have slipped. The difference is, Rule 1 did. Falcons arguably didn't, but we wouldn't say that if the second goal went in, though. What will be certainly, however, a telling point here is Rule 1's change of game plan didn't work. People might disagree with me on that, but we saw the aggression, we saw that was fair. If you're going to sit down and clamp down, you got to make sure your defensive game is strong. I would argue push for the aggression even more.
And the thing as well, I mentioned it as well, as Kaliers goes for an insane shot off the backboard, doesn't land. Rule 1 have been going for these infield passes close to the Falcons' goal a lot. Now that does tend to work, but if you're going for it all the time, Falcons' defense is going to be ready for it. They're going to spy that out before the passes even happen. So maybe a little bit more creativity from Rule 1 is required. We'll see how things pan out here on Utopia Coliseum. One more win for Falcons will put them on not just match point, not just tournament point, but LAN point as well. Remember, whoever wins this series is guaranteed to go to Rotterdam to represent their region. Falcons looking to do it 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row for all the majors, 5 I suppose if you count the World Championship. But for all 3 majors last season, obviously didn't get to play in Los Angeles, which is very unfortunate. But hopefully they should be able to get to, whoever wins should be able to get to Rotterdam. Excellent aggressive play there from Rawaz. And again, you talked about the aggression working for Rule 1. It's keeping this ball at least deep in Falcons territory for the moment, Danny.
Certainly so, and that was arguably the difference maker of Rule 1 or Game 1 and Game 2. They weren't able to sustain it long enough. They weren't able to, not necessarily a full stage, but clamp it down and recycle the ball here. We've seen elements here in the 4th game here, and they have slightly listened to, if they were listening to you, Craftman, they aren't going for the obvious pass. Yes, they're having a testing of the keeper every so often, but there hasn't been that true killer instinct of a pass here to get through the defence.
Yeah, still nothing on the board for either team as well. A little bit more of a cagey game. Mentioned about Falcons having a lot of aggression, and Ahmad, oh, what a play from Ahmad! TRK is going to be the one who cleans this up, but look what Ahmad has to do.
Lovely. Defensively, getting round them. It's effectively like a one-style play using the side wall, Craftman, and it's as a defender doesn't quite know, should have jumped, should have moved across here. You've got 2 defenders, one of you has to comment, and I think if our good friend Relic was also here, he'd be talking about the comm game. Crucial, critical, it is a must at this point at the highest of levels, and I think it was arguably broken down there.
Yeah, a little bit of a malfunction at the junction in front of the Rule 1 net. A lovely play from Ahmad nonetheless, calling in TRK right at the end. Maybe 1 goal back for them will do them a lick of good. Plenty of time on the clock. And a little bit more aggression here as Rawaz gets that pass in towards Kaliers. Plenty of boost now for himself to go for net, going for that double tap off the backboard. And Falcons defense has been ready for every single play that Rule 1 has been throwing at their net so far.
Well, the fact that we were talking about that defensive game here, statistically they're outdoing, and that may be a chance opportunity. I don't think chance is any part of the word here. It's near enough a guarantee.
Oh, Ahmad, a couple of great plays. First goal for him here in game number 4. And that is the power of Falcons. Just when you think you have a roads in, they claw it back. Find that gap in the midfield play from Rule 1. And Ahmad just has all day to work with that double tap. 2-0 now for Falcons. Looking to make it 3 and looking to make this possibly insurmountable in game number 4 for Rule 1. Nice save from Rawaz. We'll keep this one competitive at least for the moment. Minute and a half to go here, Danny. What do Rule 1 have to do to make this a 1-score game?
Score.
Okay, right, noted. Moving on.
Yep.
It's simple as that. That's all you need to do. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for your insightful analysis.
You're welcome. I've only done it because of you, Craft.
I know. I kind of walked into that one, to be fair.
Yes, you did. But I'll be a bit.
While, to be fair.
It has been. It's been a while since we've shared the booth, and it's unfortunate the fact that you walked yourself into that one. But what Rule 1 needs to do, and we're going to be serious here, They have to
Khalil.
play much better. They have to get these opportunities, and you know what? Yes, the air dribble's fine. Yes, putting it on it up. But if you're going to go for the net, you've got to be pretty much certain to get it in. Problem is, they have to play around the defender. It's almost too one-dimensional. I wouldn't even argue it's two-dimensional here yet.
And the problem for Rule 1 is that Falcons are playing near enough perfect Rocket League right now. The second on the board for Ahmad, you can really count it as a hat trick, as he did all the work for the first one, and TRK had to come in and slot it home. Ahmad has had one heck of a game here on Utopia Coliseum, and it might just put them onto match point.
Such a performance that Falcons has decided to put on here, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. They fully have earned the right here to walk themselves into that Rotterdam major itself here. But Rule 1, they will arguably having the biggest amount of regret here if they go out here and not stick Falcons in a box and keep them there for a period of time and score maybe one or two decent goals here.
It's easier said than done for Rule 1, but they're going to have to climb the mountain now, as they are 3-1 down in this series, 3-0 there in game number 4, and Falcons are really not making this easy, and are making it so not easy that finally, Danny, we have a tactical timeout. Rule 1 are taking this extra time to mull this over going into the next game.
I'm going to actually argue, Craftman, it's one game too late. I think they should have called it. Oh, you're disagreeing?
You can argue that, yeah. I don't know, like, you know, timeouts are still relatively, I know we've had them for over a year now, but they are still relatively new, and the meta of when to try and use them is still it's still floating about, whether you take it after your opponent goes 2-0 up, or when you're 2 games behind. I don't know. I think that coming out of... Actually, no. I think you're right. Now thinking about it, taking a second to think about it, I think you are actually right, Danny. I think they should have taken it after game 3, and then. But yeah, hey, better late than never.
Serious, are you?
No, I'm being serious. Better late than never. What's your thoughts behind it? Because they got smacked around in game 3, and they got smacked around there.
Well, if we just look at the fact that of those games here, what happened beforehand, a 3-1 and a 3-0. Right, so you're saying that in the next 2 minutes, effectively, they have that 60 seconds, arguably the minute of the timeout, to brush up, get your comms right, get whatever the potential issue sorted. I'm not saying you're going to have a game to adapt, a game to put it in, and a game to implement it. And you're going to do it in effectively land points, Craftman. That's bold, leaving it this late here. You had to do it a game before. Now, if they go on to win it, it's the greatest call they've ever done. But I think it was arguably a game too late. But I'm glad they at least done it. They've got however to make the most of it if they're ever going to sit there and sort of think we can put fear in the Falcons.
So what is the game plan now for Rule 1 going forward? I know you said box them in, but Falcons have been really hard to contain down in their own half. It seems like every time Rule 1 tried to pull out a midfield passing player, or even close into the Falcons box, there's always one player who just, pokes it away and gets that last touch to send it long. So what really do Rule 1 have to change, if anything?
First minute, you have to be super solid defensively. Don't let anybody near in your own half with the Falcons ball. Close it down, get it out, ship it. The moment that happens as well, you need to increase the demo. They're sitting roughly just below 3. If I was them, I'd consciously move it up to about 5. Really make it annoying. Really put the agitations in the Falcons and try to find that space. Yes, they were playing the passing game. It was working well, but they have not changed enough of their play style yet here to really test the Falcons.
And more importantly, they need to score first. Every time that throughout this series, both teams who have scored, or the team that has scored first in a game, has gone on to win it. Falcons scoring first in games 1, 3, and 4, they won those. Rule 1 scoring first in game 2. That's the only one that they have on their books right now, and that could have been a early one for Rule 1 within the first minute if the Tacky player is able to make contact. TRK makes contact with that one and will throw his rockets to the net for the first goal for Falcons.
And if you're believing patterns do exist, this grand final is over. But crafters, patterns can be broken, so can be ceilings. Rule 1 will have to certainly smash through it now.
Kalir's looking to buck the trend here in the grand final, and he does get it down. Oh, it just ricochets off a player in the bar and pops out. Rule 1 thought they had that one dead to rights, but the Falcons defense and the Falcons goal says no.
Big saves required, and the following through for doubling that lead. And we have said about punching the ticket here, it's been almost cemented at this point here as Ross needs to chase this ball down and open a gap up through here. And that one goal, it's almost like Rule 1 doesn't know how to respond here.
They've not scored since game number 3, have Rule 1. And even then it was a long ball. Didn't really mean much in the end as they were 3-0 down at the time. Can they make any progress in this one? Infield pass will find Kalir's. Can it find the net? Yes, it can! Ricochets off the defender, and Rule 1 tie it.
Oh, it'd be really uncruel if this game had an own goal graphic, as Ahmad was the one defender that had touched off. But I did say at the pre-show, and I did say before the series sometimes, crafters, you need a touch of luck. Is that it there?
It's going to do a lot for the morale on Rule 1. I know it's a cliche to say it at this point, but they really need to avoid going down 2-1 to Falcons. Maintain this momentum that you've got off of that one. That's going to be sending waves through the communications for them. Believing that they can get to Rotterdam, and a nice save from Rawaz keeps Falcons at bay for the moment. Here comes Khaled round the corner, no boost. TRK is going to have all day to shoot on this one. Controls it, gets the flip reset, and Kalir's will take it away from him.
And O'Callaghan maybe with the follow through the shot. A fabulous save! Moves that one away comfortably to Casillas, tries to find a passing option, and after all of the action as well, there was a Rule 2 that was broken by Falcons. If you're superstitious like I am, there should be a goal here.
2 minutes left here on Wasteland. Falcons banging at the door. Rule 1 keeping it firmly closed for the moment. And Rawaz stepping up after his mistakes earlier on in this series, Danny. He's certainly come into his own. The mistakes of Yonder behind him, but he gets taken away by Ahmad, and Falcons have a lead.
When you thought stability was there, a pillar somewhat falls. And Falcons, there'll be a grin on their cheeks right now. They've got 1 foot effectively on the plane step. They would like to go and board the plane craftman as the third goal's wrapping around the post there, pushed away, but the faces of pressure building up now.
Time still for Rule 1. They can't let TRK in again. He's been their top goal scorer for Falcons this series. Can they avoid the dreaded 3-1? At that stage you would think it would be over, but they have a chance here, down 1. Minute 15 to go. They need to find any space in the defense, and they might have. Oh, what a shot! A pass downfield. Nanner gets it into the path of TRK, and TRK goes down the other end and puts them 2 in front.
Rule 1, the one to rule all. Might be game over. Falcons took that demo, looked at Rule 1. You're not our regional champion yet.
Cannot stress how big that one is for Team Falcons and for Rule 1 as well. They're going to try everything they can here in the last 45 seconds. But it's going to be a massive struggle because Falcons just seem on their game and seem to have their number. Could have been 4-1 there, but 30 seconds to go. A rally required from Rule 1.
Massive if you want to get something going here. It requires a big heave-ho down the field, and that one, Makazirs will just keep it out, tipping it forward here. Where's the space that needs to be opened up? Falcons have littered themselves right in the crucial point, and that's it over.
Oh, Rule 1. It was a valiant effort. Sunless somewhere, bawling his eyes out. He had the precipice of a team to go through into the fall major. But at the end of the day, we always say rules are meant to be broken. The rule being that Falcons go through every single time. This time it's Rule 1 who breaks. Falcons retain their crown. We'll see you in Rotterdam.
Massive congratulations to them, and that will be the staple of MENA restored. But you have to say, it's Rule 1 that made this competition, and so is the others as well, fiercely competitive, and also get them in that situation, Crafters. You have to be in the final to put that element of doubt. The problem is, and I hate to say it was the lack of experience was certainly showing.
Yeah, you've got to put that down to lack of experience. But hey, you say that we always talk about, yeah, if you win a regional, you've got a shot. They had a shot. They've won a regional here before Rule 1, then KRN. Falcons come out on top in fall, but I would suspect that going forward into the winter and then the spring split as well, these two teams are just going to keep going back and forth. Falcons had Rule 1's number this time around. Could be completely different next time.
Oh, it's going to be massive when winter and spring comes around. The battle it is, but what is so crucial for the region is now Rule 1, like Veloci and lots of others as well, will be supporting Falcons to get as much points as they can for MENA. So it's not an individual game, it's really an entire continent and plus backing you here. But Crafters, that was one final, but how did we get here in the entirety of this bracket? Because this has been some weekend.
Yeah, the bracket has kind of played out as we kind of expected. Let's have a look at it here. Falcons obviously coming through from Anka and Veloci. I remember actually the coach of Anka, Eclipse, former coach of Endpoint, he said in the Discords after Thursday, I don't intend Falcons getting to the semis. Well, they got swept 4-0. That Veloci Twisted Minds rivalry as well. We talk about Falcons versus Rule 1. Twisted Minds versus Veloci, I can see that happening back and forth throughout the season. And of course Rule 1 beating Semper, and then obviously GK, and then losing to Falcons 4-1 in the end. But yeah, it's those top 4 teams, even you could count Twisted Minds in there, those are the 4 or 5 teams that you're going to see battling throughout the course of this season. Unless someone can step up for winter, that is the final regional for this part of the world for this split. We won't see any of these teams other than Falcons until the new year, Danny.
Well, it's hugely unfortunate, Crafton, but again, we will get to see Falcons at Rotterdam. That will be such a crucial thing. And Craftman, I hope you don't mind as well, but I've got a slightly cheeky announcement here for the Rockets.
Oh, go ahead then, Danny. Please announce to the world.
Yes, for your entertainment as well, for this weekend as well, the SAM Invitational of Fall will be happening here on the Rocket, day number 3 as well. So if you want to see who else will be joining the likes of Team Falcons, there's only one place to join.
Yeah, this is the place to be. So go down and hit that follow button. It's looking like a spicy regional South America. Obviously, they play tonight to determine who goes into the semi-finals. And I mean, I'm back in KRU because I got one of their players. Oh no, I dropped him off my fantasy team, or did I? I can't remember. I don't look at my fantasy team. I'm sorry.
How about this, Craftman? How about we follow you on Twitter and you announce who's on your drafts?
I'll tweet it out afterwards at CraftmanRL, and follow Danny as well at DannyBoyATM. And follow us as well. Why not? Where we're on a promoting spree at the Rocket RB on Twitter as well. But that is going to do it for us here on the Rocket RB. Danny, any final words before we sign off for the day?
Oh, just a huge thank you to everybody, and of course the regional manager Blonde. There's a lot of hard work from him and Sonics to get this up as well, and hopefully there is a lot more resource put into these streams as well, because you know what, it's great. Everybody enjoys them, everybody has seen the action. It's just, why not more, Kraken?
Yeah, why not more? Hopefully we'll be back next split for a little bit more MENA action. Of course, follow us for the SAM Regional final day tomorrow. Hit that follow button, hit the bell icon as well. You know when we go live for that. But for now, congratulations to Falcons, commiserations to Rule 1 and everyone else. We'll see you in the winter split. But for us here at the Rocket RB, we'll see you tomorrow for the SAM Regional. From myself, Crafman, from Danny Boy, from everyone who was on the stream, and everyone behind the scenes. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.